After her divorce, she moved with her 3 children into her sister's house. Her sister had 3 children of her own and worked long hours as a doctor. The decision was practical. She needed a place to stay while attending school, and her sister needed help managing the home. The arrangement was meant to last until she could support her family independently. The first few weeks were manageable. The house was crowded but organized. Her sister left early in the morning for work and returned late at night. During those hours, she managed everything at home: meals, school runs, cleaning, and childcare for all 6 children. The routine was full but steady. One evening, during dinner, an issue began that changed the balance of the household. She had cooked spaghetti for everyone. 95% of viewers aren't subscribed. Subscribing is free, takes seconds, and makes a real impact. Click subscribe and be part of the growth. Please turn on the bell for more updates. When she served the food, her 12-year-old niece didn't start eating. The girl sat quietly, staring at her plate. Her sister instructed her to add a few chicken nuggets from the freezer to the plate. After that, the niece began eating normally. That night, after the children were in bed, her sister explained that her daughter had autism and a restrictive eating disorder called ARFID. The nuggets were part of a routine that allowed her to eat it all. Without them, she often refused food completely. From that day on, every meal included chicken nuggets for her niece. It became a simple part of preparation. Whatever the family ate, a few nuggets were added to one plate. It worked smoothly at first. Her niece ate consistently, and her sister was relieved. But within a week, her own children started to notice the pattern. They asked why their cousin always got nuggets while they did not. She told them their cousin needed them, and that it was not about preference. The explanation didn't last. Soon, every dinner included the same question. They said it was unfair. She refused to change the rule. Everyone else would eat the same meal, and only their cousin would have the extra item. Her sister supported this when she was home, but most evenings she was at the hospital. That left her alone with 6 children, who now viewed dinner as an argument waiting to happen. The tension spread beyond the house. Her children mentioned the issue to their father. He called to suggest letting everyone share the nuggets occasionally. Later, their grandmother called with a similar opinion. She listened but decided to stay consistent. Her niece began eating less. Although she still had nuggets at every meal, she grew quieter during dinner and avoided attention. The other children's frustration didn't fade. Each meal began with complaints and ended in silence. One morning, she entered the kitchen and found her niece sitting on the floor with the freezer open. Nuggets were scattered across the tiles. The girl had dropped the bag and was trying to pick them up. She helped her clean up and put the food away. When her sister came home that night, she explained what had happened. Her sister thanked her and asked her to continue following the same plan. The pattern continued. Meals became repetitive. The air fryer ran daily, and nuggets became a fixed part of the routine. The children still protested occasionally, but she ignored it. The next major conflict happened 2 weeks later. She cooked roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and vegetables for dinner. As usual, she added 4 nuggets to her niece's plate. Her 8-year-old son looked at it and refused to eat. He said it was unfair. The others agreed and pushed their plates away. She told them that their cousin's meal was different for medical reasons, but they wouldn't listen. The argument escalated until her niece stood up and left the table without eating. When her sister came home later, she found her daughter upset in her room. She spoke privately with her, then told her that the situation was affecting everyone. Her sister said her daughter blamed herself for the fights and asked that mealtimes be handled carefully. The next day, she found the empty box of nuggets on the counter. Her niece was sitting at the table, crying quietly. Her own children stood nearby. They admitted they had taken the nuggets earlier in the day. Their cousin said she could not eat anything else. That evening, when her sister arrived home, she explained what had happened. Her sister listened and said that if the conflict continued, she would have to make other arrangements for her and the children. That night, she stayed up late cleaning the kitchen. She opened the freezer and found one unopened bag behind the ice cream. She decided to save it for the next day. The following evening, she cooked early. Her sister was still at work, and the kids were outside playing. She made pasta and prepared 4 nuggets in the air fryer. Everything was ready when her daughter came into the kitchen and asked for one. She refused, reminding her of the rule. Her daughter complained briefly and went outside again. A few minutes later, her niece came downstairs and sat at the table. When she turned back to the counter, the nuggets were gone. The plate was empty. She heard the back door close. Outside, her children were sitting on the porch, eating from a napkin. She realized what had happened, but didn't speak. Behind her, her niece stood in the doorway, watching quietly. Her sister's car pulled into the driveway a few minutes later. The headlights swept across the yard, then went dark. She saw the scene and understood without needing an explanation. No one ate dinner that night. The food stayed untouched on the table. Her sister went upstairs with her daughter. The others went to their rooms. The house stayed quiet until morning. The next day, she received a message from her ex-husband suggesting that the children stay with him for a while. She didn't reply immediately. Later that evening, her niece came downstairs holding a new box of nuggets. She said she had asked her mother to buy more, so everyone would stop arguing. She placed the box on the counter and went back upstairs. She opened the freezer to put it away and noticed a small note taped inside the door. The paper was damp and the ink had faded. Only the first 3 words were readable: "If this continues." The rest was illegible. She closed the freezer and left the note there. The new box remained on the counter until the next morning. Over the following days, routines resumed, though the tone in the house had changed. Her sister began spending more evenings at home to help with meals. She took over cooking more often, using the same system to keep her daughter's food separate. She thanked her for the help but said that everyone needed stability. She agreed and focused on finishing her school assignments and searching for a job. The tension remained under the surface but didn't escalate further. Her niece continued eating with the family, always with nuggets on her plate. The other children accepted it quietly, though no one talked about it anymore. Weeks passed without major incidents. Her sister began mentioning that it might soon be time for her to find a place of her own. She didn't argue. She had already started saving money from part-time work and applying for full-time positions. The argument stopped completely, but the change in the household dynamic didn't reverse. Her sister managed the family with more structure, keeping clear routines for meals and homework. Her niece's eating pattern stayed the same. By the end of the school term, she found a small apartment nearby. Her sister agreed to help her move once the lease was approved. The plan was for her and her children to relocate after she received her first paycheck from a new job. In the weeks before the move, the household remained orderly but distant. Each person followed their own schedule. The children played together less often. Meals continued, with the same arrangement at the table. On her last week in the house, her sister adjusted her work hours so she could be home more often. She wanted to maintain her daughter's stability after the change. She also wanted the transition to happen smoothly. The night before the move, dinner was prepared the same as always. Her sister cooked, and her niece's plate included chicken nuggets. The meal passed without conversation. Everyone finished and went to their own rooms afterward. The next morning, she packed her belongings and loaded them into a borrowed van. Her sister stayed home to assist. The move was completed by afternoon. Once she and her children were settled into the new apartment, she texted her sister to confirm they had arrived safely. Her sister replied that everything at her house was fine and that her daughter had eaten dinner without issue. They agreed to meet later in the week to exchange remaining belongings and discuss schedules for the cousins to see each other. That evening, her sister served dinner as usual. The 12-year-old niece had her plate prepared with nuggets placed next to the rest of her food. The air fryer timer went off. Her sister plated the meal, called everyone to the table, and sat down with them. The arrangement continued in the same pattern it had before. The freezer in her sister's kitchen still contained several bags of nuggets, stacked in a neat row behind other groceries. The house remained organized under the new routine. The situation between the two sisters was stable again, but the living arrangement that had begun after the divorce had officially ended. Each household now operated separately, with its own responsibilities and routines. Thanks for watching Story Frame. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more updates. See you in the next video.